Senator Brakey, Representative Hymanson, esteemed members of the Health and Human Services Committee. It is nice to be here with all of you today. I see many of you whom I've worked with closely over the years, or even who I share a district with. I'm Speaker of the House, Sarah Gideon, and I represent the towns of Freeport and Pownell in the Maine House. Thank you so much for hearing this bill today, LD 1475, which is an innovative approach to solving childhood poverty in Maine. And I want to thank you also for taking this bill out of order and accommodating the many people who have worked so hard to be here today. To start with, I don't have any doubt that there are common goals we all share when it comes to Maine families. Healthy, vibrant children who are growing up economically secure, with food in their bellies and a roof over their heads. Children whose parents are able to take care of them as a stable family unit. Parents who are able to have the economic independence that comes with an education that positions them for workplace success and a decent, steady job they can sustain over the years. Communities that benefit when all people are doing well, living independently, and contributing economically. And businesses that can find Maine people to be their employees today and tomorrow. All of these goals are signs of a healthy society. And all of these goals are within our reach. It will take our concerted and united action to get there. And today is just a start and a suggestion on some of the ways that we can do that. Because right now, 1 in every 6 children in Maine lives in poverty. And for many, the depth of that poverty is getting worse. In recent years, Maine has moved from the state with the 12th highest hunger rate to be the state with the 9th highest hunger rate. In the 4 years between 2011 and 2015, the latest year for which we have data, the proportion of Maine children living in deep poverty has increased at a rate that is a staggering 8 times that of the rest of the nation, and twice that of any other New England state. What does this mean for these kids and for all of us? Even by kindergarten, food insecure children will tend to be cognitively, emotionally, and physically behind their peers. The poverty that causes this hunger continues to have ravaging effects through a person's entire life. This produces adults who complete less schooling, who work less as adults, and who earn less as adults. That's why it's imperative that we invest now in Maine children who are experiencing poverty. Not only are they the future of our communities and our workforce, but quite simply, each one of them as a young human being who is dependent on the world, on the adults around them, is worth it. That investment is detailed in today's bill. I call it the LIFT bill. It's an act to reduce childhood poverty by leveraging investment in families today. It does use current state and federal resources in the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, TANF program, to help parents get back to work and to create stable environments for their families. Accessing these federal TANF block grant dollars that are underutilized right now on an annual basis and using the tens of thousands of federal dollars from past years accruing, LIFT offers real reforms that ensure children and families have what they need to set them on a path for a healthy, secure, and independent future. Here's how we do that. We start with the basics, the idea that every child needs a secure home and enough food to eat. LIFT will ensure that families can meet their basic needs by making the first cost of living adjustment to TANF in 15 years. This increase would bring Maine's benefit to the average of other New England states, and then it would index going forward. For example, a benefit for a family of 3 right now, today, is $485 a month. Under this cost of living increase, that benefit would increase to $637 a month. And this is applicable to people who are living at 100% or less than the poverty level. LIFT will provide housing vouchers to ensure that kids have a stable environment with a roof over their heads. Here's the threshold. If a family's housing costs exceed 50% of their income, they would qualify for Section 8 vouchers, payable directly to their landlord. LIFT also begins a heat pump pilot program so that all families can have access to a warm home, effectively using this technology that is both energy efficient and ultimately cost efficient. Next, we get people to work. LIFT provides the opportunity for parents to obtain better paying jobs by strengthening the Successful Parents as Scholars program. By allowing qualified institutions and programs to refer prospective students to the program and to work with them to submit their application, we will remove barriers to participation and build upon the successes of this program. Then, we keep people at work. We break down the emergency barriers that often arise for people who are poorest, things like affordable childcare, transportation problems, and other emergencies. LIFT strengthens the alternative aid program, an existing program right now, mitigating the welfare cliff. Then it mitigates the welfare cliff, also known as the benefit cliff, through an increase in the state earned income tax, EITC, for the lowest wage workers. Finally, it raises reimbursement rates for child care providers. We ensure that families have support in the challenging moments that often cause them to lose their jobs. Finally, Maine has a startling lack of public transportation. And of course, as we all know, in a very rural state, this is a real barrier to getting people to work. LIFT seeks to mitigate this problem with working cars for working families. It's an innovative pilot program ensuring that families who qualify for TANF have access to affordable car ownership. This program would be available to working parents or those engaged in education or training programs that will lead directly to employment. Families enrolled in this program will have case management services available to them to ensure successful participation. And we modeled this very specifically after programs in the states of New Hampshire, Vermont, and West Virginia, which have been successful over a sustained period of time. We attack the opioid addiction epidemic. LIFT prevents addiction for homeless youth by building on a successful program that's already in place. It's called the First Place program, run out of Pebble Street. It gets kids who are up to age 25 off the streets, providing them first secure housing, education and employment, and also the mental health and substance abuse programs as appropriate. We also stabilize homeless adults who are already suffering from opioid addiction and help them recover. We use Pebble Street's Housing First program as a model, and our ultimate goal here is stabilized, secure adults who can be reunited with their families, financially secure and independent. Finally, just as we hold families receiving assistance accountable, we ask that we as government are also accountable. Currently, little is known about the almost 10,000 families who have left the TANF program due to eligibility cuts in the last 6 years. We need to know that these changes are in the best interest of all Mainers. So LIFT establishes data reporting requirements for the Department of Health and Human Services so that Maine taxpayers will know exactly how the programs are administrated, but also what are the outcomes for real people, children, Maine families, the parents who support them. Whenever we consider legislation like this, whether it's in a committee or in the House or in the Senate floor, there are a couple of questions that we need to ask ourselves. Will it help Maine people get ahead? Will this help Maine kids reach their full potential? And is this a responsible stewardship of taxpayer dollars? LIFT leverages existing funds to reduce poverty. It does that by ensuring families can afford basics such as housing and heat, but then creating the economic opportunities for them to get ahead and be independent. It does all this without a general fund impact. I look forward to working with you to pass this bill. I will gladly answer any questions you have right now. If I cannot answer them, I will get you the answers or anticipate that someone behind me might be able to.
All right, thank you, Speaker Gideon. A question, so I know we don't have the fiscal note. Any idea at this point how much this is gonna cost?
Yes, so this uses the TANF federal dollars, which are currently not being used. It's approximately $150 million of TANF federal funds.
Mm-hmm.
This pays for the pilot programs, the heat pump pilot program, the transportation pilot program. It establishes a rainy day fund for TANF, and then additionally it would cover on an ongoing basis the ongoing costs outside of those pilot programs.
Can you know, this could be more. I don't wanna go into more detail than maybe you're able to talk to right now. I'm curious about the heat pump pilot program, 'cause I know we just had a recent bill in here where we had some, there were some concerns on using kind of heat pumps as kind of a, that might be, I don't need to go into all that for right now. We can explore that in a work session. But I'd be curious to, well, I'll leave my questions at that for right now. Are there any additional questions for Speaker Gideon? Representative Deno.
Thank you, Senator. Madam Speaker, just a quick question. You had referenced some of this had been lifted from programs that have been successful in New Hampshire. And I want to ask, one of the things that really strikes me most about this is the collection of data, the setting of goals, the establishment of benchmarks. Have other states taken that tack, and do we know whether that has been helpful in moving them forward?
Yeah, so Representative Deno, to speak specifically to what some other states have done, I would love to be able to give you precise and correct information on that, which I don't have at my fingertips. I believe that there are people testifying behind me who can answer that specific question, but I will take note if it's not answered today and get that information to you before the work session.
Thank you very much.
Additional questions? All right, see no additional questions, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.